I discovered my wife's affair and hired a lawyer. Then she showed up at my office begging me not to file. She burst through my office door at 3:18 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon, mascara already streaking down her face, chest heaving like she'd run the entire 12 blocks from our apartment. My assistant Jenny tried to stop her, apologizing profusely behind her, but Olivia pushed past like a woman possessed. She slammed the door shut, locked it, and pressed her back against it as if barricading us both inside. "Please," she gasped. "Please, Michael, don't do this, I'm begging you." I sat behind my desk, coffee going cold in my hand, staring at the woman I'd been married to for 9 years. She looked wild, desperate, nothing like the composed art director who'd left our apartment that morning in a pressed blazer and heels. Now her hair was disheveled, her blouse half untucked, and her hands were shaking so violently she had to clasp them together to keep them still. I set down my coffee with deliberate calm. "How did you know I was filing today?" I asked. Her eyes went wide with panic. "Your attorney's office called mine. Standard courtesy notification before formal service. Michael, please, we need to talk about this." I glanced at my watch. "You have about 40 minutes before the courier delivers the papers to our apartment. Maybe less, depending on traffic." She let out a sound, somewhere between a sob and a gasp. You can't do this to me. Not now, not like this." I leaned back in my chair, studied her. This woman who'd shared my bed, my life, my plans for the future. This woman who'd been sleeping with someone else for the better part of 8 months while lying to my face every single day. "Give me one good reason why I shouldn't," I said quietly. I'd been married to Olivia Hartwell for 9 years. We'd met at a gallery opening in Soho, where she was showcasing her design portfolio for a boutique marketing firm. I was 31, working as a senior architect at Morrison & Klein, specializing in commercial real estate developments. She was 28, brilliant, magnetic, with this way of seeing beauty in unexpected places. We'd talked for 3 hours that night about art, architecture, the way spaces could make people feel things they didn't have words for. I fell hard and fast. We married 2 years later in a small ceremony in the Catskills. Her family came up from Virginia, mine from Connecticut. Her father, William, owned a chain of luxury car dealerships across the mid-Atlantic. Her mother, Diane, ran a successful interior design firm. My parents were both professors, modest income, comfortable lives. We bought a 2-bedroom apartment in Chelsea, worked our separate careers, built what I thought was a good marriage. Olivia worked her way up to creative director at Velocity Marketing, handling campaigns for high-end brands. Long hours, lots of client dinners, occasional travel. I understood. My own schedule wasn't much better. Between site visits, client meetings, and the endless revisions that came with designing buildings people would live and work in for decades, I regularly pulled 60-hour weeks. We made it work. Date nights when we could, weekend brunches, summer trips to Cape Cod. No kids yet. Olivia wanted to wait until she made partner at her firm. I was fine with that. We had time, or so I thought. The first crack appeared 6 months ago, though I didn't recognize it then. Olivia started coming home later, sometimes not until 9 or 10 at night. "New client," she'd explain, kissing my cheek. "Demanding, but if we land them, it's a 7-figure contract." She started going to the gym more often, bought new clothes, got her hair done at an expensive salon in Tribeca. All things that could be explained by wanting to look good for work, for herself. I didn't question it. The second crack came when she started working Saturdays. "We're in the final pitch phase," she'd say, laptop bag over her shoulder. "I'll be back by dinner." Except dinner became 8 p.m., then 9. Then she'd text saying she'd already eaten with the team. I'd sit in our apartment, eating takeout alone, telling myself this was temporary. Once the pitch was done, things would go back to normal. But the pitch came and went. They landed the client, and Olivia's late nights continued. I started paying attention. Not suspicion, not yet, just noticing. The way she'd smile at her phone and quickly put it away when I entered the room. The new perfume she started wearing, something expensive I didn't recognize. The fact that she'd password protected her laptop when she'd never bothered before. "Security," she'd said when I asked. "New company policy after that data breach last month." The real break came on a Saturday in late September. Olivia said she had a client meeting. She left at 10 a.m., said she'd be back by 3. I was working from home, drafting plans for an office complex in Midtown. At 2:30, I realized I'd left my portfolio at the office. I needed it for a Monday morning presentation. I grabbed my keys, headed out. My architecture firm was in Flatiron, a 20-minute walk from our apartment. I took the scenic route through Madison Square Park, enjoying the autumn air. That's when I saw them. Olivia and a man I didn't recognize, sitting at an outdoor table at Gramercy Tavern. They weren't discussing work. They were holding hands across the table, leaning in close, and as I watched, frozen on the sidewalk 30 feet away, he reached up and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. An intimate gesture, a familiar gesture, the kind of thing you do with someone you're sleeping with, not someone you're pitching to. I stood there for what felt like an hour but was probably only 3 minutes. Watched them laugh together, watched her rest her hand on his forearm, watched him pay the check with a credit card he didn't even look at. They stood up, and he kissed her. Not a friendly peck, a real kiss, the kind that made my stomach drop through the sidewalk. They walked away together, his arm around her waist, heading east toward Park Avenue. I followed them. I don't know why. Some sick need to confirm what I already knew. They walked 6 blocks to a building on Lexington, a modern high-rise with a doorman. He keyed them in, his hand on the small of her back as they entered the elevator. I stood outside, staring at the building, feeling like my entire life was collapsing in real time. My phone buzzed. Text from Olivia. Meeting running long. Won't be home until 6. Love you. I walked back to our apartment in a daze, sat on the couch, stared at the wall. At 6:15, Olivia came home, all smiles. Hey babe, sorry that ran so late. Client wanted to go over every detail. She kissed my cheek, completely natural, completely convincing. How was your day? I looked at her, this woman I'd married, who I'd trusted completely. Fine, I said. Productive. She went to change, and I sat there, trying to figure out what to do. Confront her? Demand an explanation? Part of me wanted to believe there was some innocent explanation. Maybe the man was a colleague. Maybe the kiss was European-style greeting. Maybe I'd misread the entire situation. But I hadn't. I knew what I'd seen. The intimacy, the familiarity, the lies she'd told to cover it up. That night, after Olivia fell asleep, I went through her phone. I knew her passcode. She'd never hidden it from me because she'd never needed to. The messages were all there, hundreds of them. His name was Andrew Castellano, 39 years old, senior vice president at an investment firm. They'd met at a networking event 5 months ago. The early messages were professional, friendly. Then they shifted. Flirting. Innuendo. By July, they were explicit. Planning meetups, discussing hotels, sending photos I couldn't bring myself to look at. The most recent message was from that afternoon. Can't wait to see you again. Next Saturday? Her response. Absolutely. I'll tell M I have a work thing. M me. Michael. Reduced to an initial. An obstacle to be lied to and worked around. I took screenshots, every single message, sent them to my email, deleted the sent messages from her phone, put it back on her nightstand, went to the bathroom and threw up. The next morning, I called in sick to work. First time in 3 years. I couldn't face the office, couldn't pretend everything was normal when my marriage was a lie. After Olivia left for work, I called my college roommate David, who'd gone to law school and now practiced family law in Manhattan. I need a divorce attorney, I said. The best you know. There was a pause. Michael? What happened? I told him everything. The restaurant, the kiss, the messages, the months of lies. David listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. I'm sorry, man. That's brutal. He gave me a name. Veronica Sullivan. 23 years practicing matrimonial law in New York. She's aggressive, smart, doesn't mess around. She'll protect your assets and make sure Olivia doesn't screw you over in the settlement. I called Veronica's office that morning, explained the situation to her paralegal. Got an appointment for the following afternoon. Veronica Sullivan's office was in a glass tower near Lincoln Center, 28th floor, with views overlooking the Hudson. She was 51, sharp suit, sharper eyes, the kind of woman who radiated competence and controlled fury. Tell me everything, she said, notebook open. I did. She took notes, asked clarifying questions, had me forward her the screenshots. She reviewed them on her tablet, expression unchanging. This is good evidence, she said finally. Clear documentation of infidelity. New York is a no-fault divorce state, but this will help in asset distribution and spousal support negotiations. She leaned forward. Do you own property together? I nodded. Our apartment in Chelsea. We bought it 4 years ago. It's worth about $1.8 million now. We split the down payment. Both our names on the mortgage. Veronica made notes. Other significant assets? Retirement accounts, investments, joint savings. I walked her through our finances. My 401k worth about $340,000. Olivia's retirement account around $180,000. Joint savings of $95,000. 2 cars, 1 in each name. No debt besides the mortgage. Children? She asked. No. Good. That simplifies things. She looked at me directly. Here's what I recommend. We file immediately. The longer you wait, the more time she has to hide assets or prepare a counter strategy. I haven't confronted her yet, I said. She doesn't know I know. Veronica nodded. Even better. File first. Serve her at work. Public. Documented. No chance for her to spin a narrative before the legal process begins. She pulled out a standard divorce petition form. I'll need you to review this, sign it, and I'll file it with the court tomorrow morning. Once filed, we'll have a process server deliver the papers to her workplace. Standard procedure. I stared at the form. This was real. This was happening. What happens after she's served? I asked. Veronica walked me through it. She'll have 30 days to respond. Her attorney will likely contact me immediately to discuss settlement terms. Given the evidence of infidelity and the relatively straightforward asset split, I'd expect this to resolve without going to trial. You'll negotiate, reach an agreement, submit it to the court, and the judge will finalize the divorce. She paused. One thing you should know. Does Olivia have family money? Any significant inheritance or trust funds? I thought about that. Her father owns car dealerships. He's wealthy, but I don't know specifics. Olivia never talked much about family finances. Veronica made a note. Find out. If she's expecting an inheritance we need to know, could affect spousal support calculations. I left her office with a folder full of documents to review and sign, walked back to my apartment in a fog. That night, Olivia came home at 7:30, all smiles. "Good day?" she asked, kissing my cheek. "Yeah," I lied. "Productive. We made small talk over dinner. She told me about a campaign she was working on." I nodded, smiled, responded appropriately, all while knowing this was likely one of our last normal evenings together. I signed the divorce papers that night after she went to bed, scanned and emailed them to Veronica. She confirmed receipt, said she'd file first thing in the morning and have the process server deliver them to Olivia's office by end of week. The next few days were torture, acting normal while knowing the bomb was about to drop. Olivia kept her routine. Late nights, Saturday morning, meetings. The constant lies I no longer bothered questioning. I went through the motions, went to work, had meetings, sketched building designs, came home. On the inside, I was numb. Veronica called me Wednesday afternoon. "Papers are filed. Process server will deliver to Olivia's office tomorrow at 2 p.m. Once served, her attorney will contact her, then contact me. Expect things to move quickly after that." Thursday morning, I went to work as usual. Tried to focus on a client presentation. Couldn't concentrate. At 2:15 p.m., my phone rang. "Veronica. She's been served. My office got a call from her attorney's office 10 minutes ago. Standard courtesy notification before formal proceedings begin." I thanked her, hung up, sat at my desk, staring at my computer screen. It was done. No going back now. That's when Olivia burst into my office, desperate and terrified. Now, standing behind my desk, looking at the woman who'd betrayed me for 8 months, I felt nothing but cold resolve. "Give me one good reason why I shouldn't go through with this," I repeated. She stepped forward, hands clasped like she was praying. "Because I made a mistake. A horrible, stupid mistake. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Michael. I didn't move. You were sorry last week? Last month? Or are you just sorry because you got caught?" Her face crumpled. "I was going to end it. I swear, I was going to break it off with Andrew and focus on us." "When?" I asked. "When were you going to end it? Before or after your next Saturday meeting?" She went pale. "You know about Andrew." "I know about everything, Olivia. The restaurant, his apartment, the messages. All of it." I pulled out my phone, opened my email, showed her the screenshots I'd sent myself. "I've known for 2 weeks. She sank into the chair across from my desk, all the fight draining out of her. "Why didn't you say something?" "Because I was talking to my attorney instead, making sure when I ended this marriage I did it right." Olivia looked up at me, tears streaming freely now. "Michael, please, you don't understand. If you file now, I'll lose everything." I raised an eyebrow. "Everything? You'll lose half our assets. Uncomfortable, sure, but not everything." "No," she said, voice breaking. "You don't understand. My grandmother's trust." I went still. "What about it?" Olivia's grandmother had died 3 years ago, left a substantial trust fund split between Olivia and her sister. But the trust had conditions. I'd never paid much attention to the details, because it wasn't our money, wasn't available yet. "The trust pays out when I turn 38, Olivia said. "That's in 6 weeks. November 15th, $4.2 million. I stared at her. $4 million? She nodded frantically. "But there's a condition. I have to be married. If I'm divorced or in divorce proceedings when the trust pays out, the entire amount goes to my sister instead." The pieces clicked into place. "That's why you're here. Not because you want to save our marriage. Because you want to save your inheritance." "Both," she insisted. "I want both. Michael, I love you. I made a terrible mistake with Andrew, but I love you. And yes, I don't want to lose the trust, but that's not the only reason I'm here." I sat back down, processing this. "So you were planning to wait until after the trust paid out to leave me?" "No, I wasn't going to leave you at all, but you were sleeping with someone else. It was a mistake, an affair. It didn't mean anything." I laughed, actually laughed. "Didn't mean anything? Olivia, you were with him for 8 months. That's not a mistake. That's a relationship." She leaned forward desperately. "Please, Michael, just wait 6 weeks. Let the trust pay out, then we can figure out the divorce. You'll get half of it in the settlement. That's over $2 million. You'd be walking away with more than if we divorce now." I studied her. She was bargaining, negotiating, treating our marriage like a business transaction. "So your proposal is, I pretend everything's fine for 6 weeks, let you collect your inheritance, then proceed with the divorce. We could go to counseling," she offered. "Use the 6 weeks to see if we can fix this. If we can't, then yes, we divorce, but at least we tried. And you get your $4 million either way." She flinched. "I know how it sounds, but Michael, I'm begging you. 6 weeks, that's all I'm asking." I thought about it, genuinely considered it. $2 million was substantial money, more than I'd see if we divorced now, but the cost would be 6 more weeks of lies, of pretending, of playing the fool while she secured her financial future. "What about Andrew?" I asked. "If I agree to this, what happens with him? I'll end it. Today. Right now. I'll call him and break it off. You were going to do that anyway, remember? Before you knew I'd filed." Olivia swallowed. "I'll do whatever you want. Complete transparency. You can check my phone anytime, track my location, monitor my email, whatever it takes to rebuild trust." I looked at her. Really looked at her. She meant it, in this moment. She was desperate enough to agree to anything. But desperation wasn't the same as genuine remorse. Desperation was about avoiding consequences, not about actually changing. No, I said quietly. Her face went white. What? No, I'm not waiting 6 weeks. I'm not pretending. I'm not giving you the chance to secure your inheritance before ending our marriage. Michael, please, you had 8 months to come clean. 8 months to end it with Andrew. 8 months to choose our marriage. You chose him. Every single day, you chose him. I choose you now, she sobbed. I'm choosing you right now, only because the consequences showed up. You're not sorry you had the affair, Olivia. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference. I stood up, walked to my office window, looked out at the Manhattan skyline. Even if I believed you wanted to save our marriage, which I don't, I wouldn't wait. Because the inheritance is exactly why I'm filing now. She looked confused. What do you mean? If we're still married when the trust pays out, that money becomes marital property. I'd be entitled to half, but I don't want half of money you're only getting because of a technicality in your grandmother's trust. I don't want to profit from this. I want a clean break. That wasn't entirely true. The real reason was simpler. I didn't want to give her the satisfaction. Didn't want her to get what she wanted after betraying me. The inheritance could rot for all I cared. Olivia stood up, desperate. Then I'll sign a prenup, right now, agreeing the trust money stays separate, not marital property. You won't get any of it, but I'll wait to file. We'll say we reconciled. And 6 weeks from now, after you have your money, what stops you from filing for divorce yourself? She hesitated. Just a fraction of a second, but I saw it. She'd thought of that. Of course she had. I walked back to my desk, sat down. Here's what's going to happen. The courier is delivering the divorce papers to our apartment in about 20 minutes. You're going to go home, receive them, and contact your attorney. Your attorney will contact mine. We'll proceed with the divorce, split our assets equitably, and you'll lose your grandmother's trust because you couldn't keep your marriage vows. Olivia's face twisted with rage and despair. You're doing this to punish me. No, I'm doing this because our marriage is over. The punishment is just a bonus. She grabbed my desk, leaning over it. Michael, I'm begging you. I'll do anything. Anything you want. Name it. I want you to leave my office. $4 million? You're throwing away $2 million because you're angry. I'm not throwing it away. I'm choosing my self-respect over your money. She straightened up, wiped her eyes. The desperation was shifting to something else. Anger, maybe. Calculation. You'll regret this. I doubt it. My father will destroy you. He knows people, lawyers, judges, business connections. You'll never work in this city again. I smiled coldly. Your father's car dealerships have nothing to do with commercial architecture, and threatening me isn't going to change my mind. She stared at me, breathing hard. Then she laughed. Actually laughed. A bitter, broken sound. You self-righteous bastard. You think you're so moral, so honorable, but you're just petty. This is revenge, pure and simple. Call it whatever you want, I said. Doesn't change the outcome. She grabbed her purse, headed for the door, then turned back. Andrew loves me. He wants to marry me. So I'll lose the trust, but I won't be alone. Good for you, I said. I genuinely hope he's faithful, though statistically, when relationships start as affairs, they don't tend to last. But maybe you'll be the exception. She slammed the door hard enough to rattle the walls. I sat at my desk, hands shaking slightly, and called Veronica. My wife just left my office. She knows about the filing. She tried to convince me to delay 6 weeks so she could collect an inheritance first. Veronica was quiet for a moment. How much? 4.2 million. Trust fund from her grandmother. Pays out only if she's married. And you said no. I said no. Good. Because if you'd delayed and the trust paid out during proceedings, it could have complicated things significantly. That's what I figured. Veronica paused. Michael, I have to ask. Are you sure about this? $2 million is a lot of money to walk away from. I'm sure. I don't want her money. I want out. All right. Then we proceed as planned. I'll expect contact from her attorney within the next few hours. She hung up. I sat there staring at my computer screen, trying to focus on work. Couldn't. At 4:35 p.m., my phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. I opened it. This is Andrew. Olivia told me what you did. You're making a huge mistake. She loves you. She deserves a chance to fix this. I stared at the message. The audacity was staggering. The man who'd been sleeping with my wife was texting me to defend her. I didn't respond. Blocked the number. 10 minutes later, another text. Different number. Michael, this is Diane Hartwell, Olivia's mother. We need to talk about this divorce. You're making a rash decision that will hurt everyone, including yourself. Please call me. I didn't respond to that either. At 5 p.m., Veronica called. Olivia's attorney just contacted me. Leonard Baxter, practices out of White Plains. He's requesting an emergency meeting to discuss settlement terms. Already? Your wife is motivated. Baxter said his client is willing to agree to an expedited divorce if we can reach terms quickly. He's proposing we meet tomorrow morning. What do you think? I asked. I think Olivia is panicking. She knows the trust deadline is coming up, and she's hoping if we settle fast enough, she can finalize the divorce and remarry Andrew before November 15th. I processed that. Can she do that? Theoretically, yes. If we settle immediately, submit the agreement to the court, and the judge signs off quickly, the divorce could be finalized in 3 to 4 weeks. She could remarry within days after that, technically before the trust date. But the trust requires her to be married, not remarried. Would that count? That depends on the exact language of the trust. If it says married, without specifying to whom or for how long, she might have an argument. But if it specifies continuously married or married to the same person, she's out of luck. Veronica paused. Do you want me to stall? Draw out the negotiations to make sure there's no way she makes the deadline? I thought about it. The petty part of me wanted to say yes, wanted to make absolutely certain Olivia lost everything, but the exhausted part of me just wanted it over with. No, I said. Don't stall. Negotiate fairly, get me a reasonable settlement, and end this as fast as possible. If she manages to remarry Andrew in time and the trust pays out, that's between her and her grandmother's lawyers. You're being generous, Veronica said. I'm being done. I don't want to drag this out. I want to move on. All right, I'll meet with Baxter tomorrow morning, report back to you with their initial settlement proposal. That night, I went home to our apartment, soon to be my former apartment. Olivia wasn't there. All her immediate essentials were gone. Toiletries, laptop, a suitcase worth of clothes. She'd moved out fast, left a note on the kitchen counter. I'm staying with my sister. I'll send for the rest of my things once we've worked out the settlement. I'm sorry, Michael, for everything. I crumpled the note, threw it away, ordered Thai food, ate it alone at our dining table. Slept in our bed. My bed now. Woke up Friday morning to an email from Veronica. Subject line, initial settlement proposal. The email outlined Olivia's offer. She wanted a 50-50 split of the apartment proceeds and joint savings. She'd keep her retirement account, I'd keep mine. She'd take her car, I'd take mine. No spousal support requested on either side. Clean, equitable split. Veronica had added her analysis. This is a fair offer. Better than I'd expected, honestly. She's not fighting for more, not trying to claim your retirement accounts. She just wants out fast. I recommend accepting with minor adjustments to ensure all terms are clearly documented. I responded, accept it. Whatever adjustments you think are necessary, go ahead. I just want this finished. Veronica moved fast. By Monday afternoon, we had a signed settlement agreement. Both parties agreed to all terms. The apartment would be sold, proceeds split evenly. Joint savings divided. Savings. Individual retirement accounts and vehicles stayed with their respective owners. All community property divided fairly. No alimony. Clean, final break. The judge still needed to review and sign the final divorce decree, which would take 2 to 3 weeks. But the settlement was done. Veronica called me that evening. Congratulations, if that's the right word. You handled this efficiently. Thanks, I said, though I didn't feel much like celebrating. I have to tell you, Michael, I've been doing this for 23 years, and I've seen people drag out divorces for years over spite and money. You could have made Olivia's life miserable. You had the leverage, the evidence, the moral high ground, but you chose to end it cleanly. I didn't want to be bitter, I said. I just wanted it over. Well, you got what you wanted. Final decree should be signed by mid-November. You'll be officially divorced about a week before Thanksgiving. After I hung up, I sat in my apartment, now mostly empty because we'd listed it, and I'd started packing. Thought about Olivia, probably with Andrew, planning her next wedding, hoping to finalize everything before November 15th. I looked up the terms of her grandmother's trust out of curiosity. Called my own attorney, David, asked if he could get me a copy. He made some calls, got back to me the next day. The trust document is specific, he said. Beneficiary must be legally married as of midnight on November 15th. Not divorced, not separated, not in divorce proceedings, continuously married. So if Olivia's divorce isn't finalized by then, she loses it. Even if she remarries Andrew before the deadline, the trust specifies she can't have been divorced in the 12 months prior to payout. Her grandmother apparently really valued marital stability. I laughed. Couldn't help it. So, no matter what, she's not getting it. Not unless she convinces a judge to deny your divorce decree, which won't happen given she agreed to the settlement. I thanked David, hung up, sat there feeling something between satisfaction and sadness. The divorce decree was signed on November 8th, 7 days before the trust deadline. I got the notification via email. Veronica sent a brief message. It's official. You're divorced. Congratulations on your fresh start. I forwarded the email to Olivia. No message attached. Just the decree. She responded an hour later. I hope you're happy. You cost me $4 million. I wrote back, no, your affair cost you $4 million. I just refused to help you hide the consequences. She didn't respond. I heard through mutual acquaintances that Olivia did try to marry Andrew before the deadline. Rushed to City Hall, got a marriage license, had a judge perform a quickie ceremony on November 13th. But when her grandmother's trust lawyers reviewed the documentation, they denied the payout. The trust terms were clear. Continuously married, no divorce in the 12 months prior. Olivia's marriage to me had ended on November 8th. Her marriage to Andrew started November 13th. 5-day gap. Trust denied. She tried to sue. Claimed the trust terms were ambiguous, that her grandmother's intent was simply that she be married at the time of payout, not continuously married without interruption. The lawyers fought her, produced the trust document with highlighted sections explicitly stating continuous marriage, showed her grandmother's notes explaining she wanted to encourage stable, long-term marriages, not quick remarriages after divorces. The judge sided with the trust. Olivia's sister got the full $4.2 million. Olivia got nothing. I heard she and Andrew separated 6 months later. Apparently, the stress of losing the inheritance, combined with the reality of being together outside the excitement of an affair, killed whatever they'd had. She moved back to Virginia, last I heard. Started working for her mother's interior design firm. Never reached out to me again. I sold the apartment, split the proceeds with her as agreed. Took my half, bought a smaller place in Brooklyn, focused on work. Started dating again after about a year. Met someone new, someone who valued honesty, someone who didn't keep secrets or lead double lives. If you enjoyed this, you'll definitely want to see the next ones too. So subscribe now and let me know your take in the comments.